crafts. And I promise to be back with our new fairy hug stamps, which is exactly what we're going to do right now. Excuse me, I printed some nice samples for you since I know you like that. And we're going to look at some samples at the same time we look at our stamps, and we'll see how we can use them. So if Margie wants to pan down on my table, and then let's zoom in a bit so we can see these things. Oops, wrong way. I will someday learn to use this thing, guys, really. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Let's see if I can, best way to hold these for you. Okay, here's some samples to take a look at. This is the riverbed. I'll tell you the actual names of the stamps as we go, but we just got more of these bulrush in. We got more of this scene. We have more of the owls. So we are all set to do this one. Isn't that beautiful? Now, obviously, these are going to be larger than your actual stamps. They're enlarged just to let you guys see the detail. But remember what we talked about before when we said you need a remarkably low number of stamps to actually make some of these images. Let's take a look at that as we go. In this one, they're using the moon, and a lot of the papers actually already have the moon on them. We're using this wonderful tree. I think it's called the moon tree. Well, we'll take a look at that. We have these fairy rush and the stamp. So it takes very little to make that. And isn't that just a beautiful image? I love that. And we know how to do these inking techniques, don't we, guys? So gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Here's another one with that tree. I love that. And all they're doing here, see if I can get in a little bit further here. Oops. I will learn to use this. I really will, guys. Right now, I'm kind of a mess with that. There we go. Let's get in where we can actually see these. They're sparkling up. They're just using a little, I think they're actually using maybe the dandelion fluff. And they're sparkling up to just make those beautiful scenes. And then they're just kind of ghosting in those tree stumps in the background. But isn't that beautiful? These samples today all came directly off of either the blog or the website from, oops, make the bear stand on his head, poor guy. All come off of the Fairy Hugs website. So you can find these there or access this video. But there's the bear, and we've got those kind of bare birch trees. We've got this snowy tree on this side is back, and they're using that for both of the background trees there. This little guy, everybody asked for him before. They didn't have him available, and I just got this guy. And then we have, I think, everything else that's used in this that uses that branch that comes in, and we actually have those branches back today. And then they're using little stamps to create those. I don't remember what these little berry things are called, but we it's like the dragonberries. Yeah, we have those in and available. We have the little owl. It just doesn't take an awful lot of stamps with these to create just really beautiful stamped images. Which way am I going here? I'm going this way. There we go. Okay, we'll look at just a couple more here, then we'll look at some of our stamps. Once again, I got him upside down.
I love those lanterns. They're so cute.
And that tree, this tree just has to be one of my favorites, just in terms of creating an image to come into your scene. What a beautiful way to do that. I love the way they've water spotted this paper, by the way. Isn't it pretty? You could almost do this with the backgrounds we just created on our boards, the dipping technique, and then just spray it with water, spritz it with water, and you can get some of those water techniques.
From our Jamie Sparkles
From our Jamie Sparkles videos, the ones that we just created. I mean, those dipped papers would be really fabulous backgrounds for some of these. Here's our bears again. Look at that. Isn't that just beautiful? And again, our stampers know how to create these backgrounds. And this one, I like this one. They're actually using the hanging vines and turning it around and making them come up to create these vines in the front. And then they're also creating the tree out of that, out of the hanging vines. That's
That is
pretty
so
clever.
smart.
It's clever. It's always nice to have more than one way to use a stamp, and that certainly is a great example of that. One more. Here's our dragon. Here's that tree we were talking about. Look at that. This has two stamps in it. We've got the tree and we've got the dragon, and they're using a background sheet. But how beautiful is
Because those
that?
are the new background sheets from
It
Fairy
is. It's
Hugs
one of the
too,
new
right?
slim lines. Yep. Okay, let's set these aside and take a look at some of our stamps, and we'll continue looking at some more pictures after we've done that. Let's start with some of those backgrounds we've been talking about. Some of these are new, some of these are restocked. All of them are wonderful. Here's that tall bear tree, and that's what it's called, the tall bear tree. And here's the small bear tree. We've got, here's the hanging vines we just talked about that they're using as the bush, and then they're turning around and they are turning this way, and they're stamping the brush across the front. So smart. Here are some little wispy clouds, and we have a couple examples in our sets of pictures using these little wispy clouds that you can kind of put wispy clouds over your moon or just up in the sky. Here's our hanging vines. This was used in so many of the scenes, and a lot of times you'll see this turned sideways, and you'll just see these little spots here kind of hanging over the top and into your picture, just to create something in the sky there as if a tree is hanging down into the picture. Here are those long branches. You see these used just everywhere in these fairy hugs stamps. Margie's over here pointing. Come on.
The camera.
Get them in the picture, Deborah. Okay, here's that tree we just talked about. This is the one that they were adding the snow effects to. And it even gives you an open space. Put white here. So that's a great tree. Here's our bulrush. They're using that in a lot of things. That is just a neat looking bush, though. Just by nature, it's a really pretty bush. Here's the ivy, and you will see this ivy used in a lot of places too. And a surprising number of times they take that and turn it kind of like this and use this ivy kind of draping the upper part of a screen as well, or turn it on side and stamp just the ivy hanging down into the picture. Surprising amount of the time. And of course, you can take that ivy and put it down in the corners or up in the corners of your stamped image as well. So a really beautiful addition. And these are called leafy stalks. That's because they're leafy stalks, all right. Here's that tree I love. It was in before, of course, and it promptly sold out because it is a beautiful tree. And here's that scenery. This one's actually new. This is the Wandering River. This one's called Stream Scene.
There we go.
Stream Scene. And you can see how easy it's going to be to add your elements to this one and just create something beautiful.
Now you don't have to make your own stream and waterfall, right?
No, you don't. And they actually are using, for those of you who love the waterfalls, they're actually using the waterfall with the stream a lot. And what they're doing is only stamping this lower part and then putting the waterfall here. We know how to mask that off. And here's that tree, the moon. I think it is called the moon tree, isn't it?
It is, and it is so pretty.
It's very pretty. Okay, so let's look at some more samples and see if we can spot some of those things as well as some of the other new ones. As of today, those are all in stock. We've had one similar in the past to this fairy swing before, This one's got a lot going on with it, but let's see if we can pick out some of the things. Here's our leafy branches sticking up into the scene. We've got our um, what do they
Hanging
call that
vines.
leafy vine coming in. We just talked about the fact that a lot of times they'll actually kind of sweep this in. One of the other things I like about this scene, and one of the reasons I chose this one, is that you can see that in the background of this, they're silhouetting our swing and our excuse me, our fairy into the front, but they're using a full color scene in the back of that.
Mm-hmm.
See that? That actually, they're making that, they're just stamping everything right onto an already full color scene. And I thought that was a neat example to show because that shows that you don't have to start with a blank piece of paper. You can start with images you already like and build from there. Here's our fairy that's, she looks sad to me. She's actually called the Blue Fairy. She looks sad to me, but all of the images seem to just indicate that she's sleeping.
Sleeping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because when you
Yes.
read the sentiments and things, they seem to say that she's sleeping. I like the way they colored the wings on this. Look how many stamps they've used in this besides their actual backgrounds. Three. We've got, well, maybe four. I think they put the fairy bells, these blue bells on her. But maybe they're already there though, because she's the blue fairy. We'll have to look because we have that fairy today. We'll look and see if these are already on here. But we have her, we have the stump, we have the sentiment, and they may have stamped these orbs as well because we have that orb stamp, remember? But that's not a lot of stamps in that background, and how beautiful is that? Oh, you're getting into the new ones here. Here's our new, I think he's called Oscar. I'm not sure. We'll have to look at his name, but isn't he fabulous?
Now, last week when Brittany was listing these, she started giggling and was so excited about the turtles. But the loudest sound that I heard her make was actually for the octopus when
The
she found
octopus
it.
is cool. He really is cool. And look what they're doing here. They're just using they're they're actually creating this into a shaker card. I don't know how well you can see that, but they're
Yes, we
using a
can zoom
circle
in.
die and an aperture. They're cutting an aperture here and they're creating a little pocket on the back and they're putting sequins in with that.
Yeah, you can see the stamp on
Octopus,
there.
isn't he cool? He's neat. I like that. Sending you oceans of love. There's the turtle. That looks to me as if they're actually using die cuts for these pieces, and we certainly have a wide variety of die cuts available in ocean images and others. But look at that beautiful turtle in there. Isn't he just fabulous? And again, they're water spotting the paper. So think about even using some of those, once again, dipped backgrounds and then just water spotting that to get this beautiful background paper. Here's another one where they're making a shaker card out of it. Once again, they're using a few die cuts in here that they don't actually offer. I don't know if I have a port window, but you could actually fairly easily create this with a couple of circle dies. You could create something that looked an awful lot like that anyway, and create your own porthole and make a shaker out of it with those wonderful, wonderful seahorses. I like the way they've kind of ghosted in the seahorses. When I say ghosted in, just means restamping without a lot of ink on the stamp to create those almost shadows of seahorses. Isn't that cool? We do have some of these new little stamps as well. We have some of these smaller stamps in. And there's our turtle again. I think we'll see the sea animals next. You've seen this one before. Make a wish.
Upside down too.
You've seen this one before, but it was just such a nice example of that kissing fairy. And the other thing I like about this one is look what they're using in their background. They're using like a page out of a book or pages out of a book that are just collaged up. And then we're using our stamps, both our stamps stamped directly onto that, and then a few of the stocky stamps, the stalks with leaves, and cutting those out to create some layers. This is a very easy mixed media one to do. And here's those viney. stamps again coming in just to add a little texture to the top of that. So this looks fabulous and it looks difficult. It's so easy to do this one, but beautiful. It doesn't take a lot of stamps to make some of these. I should have proofed these before I went through them and made sure they were all right side up, but
This
I
makes
think
it
her name,
fun.
I'm not positive, but I believe her name might be Starla, and we have her back today too.
She's pretty.
And there's only a couple things here. We've got those stalks with leaves, and then we've got this one. We have that in stock. I don't remember what it's called. And we have the fairy. That's it. Just and then some splashy, fun backgrounds. Here's
I
our
love the
little. I
next
love
one.
these little ones. And I got this one. I grabbed this picture because I thought this was a particularly fun picture of just using these little. I think they're called. Well, they're right here. These are called condo dwellers. Yeah, condo dwellers, these little tiny fairies with flowers. It'd be so easy to add these little fairies to any flower image that you're doing. But I thought this was a particularly cute slimline card that they were doing too.
And I like how they use the aperture to give it kind of a window in.
Yes, isn't that cute?
Yeah.
And then they kind of, it almost creates an orb for each one of the fairies.
Mm-hmm.
Simple, simple card to do. Before you ask, no, I do not have this die cut at present, but there's lots of other die cuts that you could use to create a similar impression. And we're certainly working on a lot of different flower images and more flower images to come for some of those small ones. Here's another one of the kissing fairy. This time we've got the fun tree, we've got the kissing fairy, we've got the background. And notice how they're just using a piece of one of the background sheets here and then stamping over that and layering that on a card with the dark background around it. I really like the way they did that. In this case, they're doing a little fussy cutting of some of the bulrush and some of the branches. Here's Brittany's turtle again. And look what they've done here. They've just glued little sequins on for additional texture and effect there. Are you wanting to pass through? Come on through. Hey guys, say hi to Ashley, who's back today. Ashley is back. So say hi to everybody.
Hi.
I'm so excited that Ashley is back with us. It's like the team is full again now. So welcome back, Ashley. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you tomorrow. Bye.
There's our turtle anyway.
Takes
And
4 wheels to make a car go, right?
it does. We've been running on 3 wheels for a while, and these guys deserve such big kudos to Margie and Brittany for making it all work. But Ashley's now back, and the team is full again, so I'm so excited. So you'll begin to hear Ashley's name and see Ashley's name on things, get little communications back and forth from her now and again. Anyway, there's our turtle, and nothing says that everything has to be absolutely realistic. This is fairyland, of course, so you can have mushrooms under the water. Why not? We're creating our own little things out of those mushrooms. Okay, here's our octopus again. Now, I'm not really big on fishing nets. They do terrible things to our oceans, but I have to say, the fishing nets make really, really neat background texture for your images. And look what nice texture that adds to our octopus. So we have to forgive them for the use of a net because the net is really neat texture. You could actually draw that in with a pen too if you wanted to. No reason why you couldn't draw that net with a pen if you wanted
Is
to.
it an actual stamp that we have?
Yes, we have a new one. It is the net. And I love what they did. Look at the little crusties they created on the octopus. Isn't that really realistic
Can I
looking?
zoom it on in?
Yeah,
See if we can
they've
pick
just
it up.
created little crusties on there.
It really gave it a 3D
It
effect.
does. It's
And that's just a
beautiful.
flat piece of paper.
Uh huh. Isn't that neat? I think they're using a glitter or a paste to do that. And we have lots of choices that you could make those. You could use flower pollen to make that. You could make that, let's just,
Embossing powder.
embossing powder, you could make that. You could make that with, it wouldn't be, it would be shiny, but you could use Nouveau drops to make that kind of texture. So there's just lots of things that you could do to create that kind of texture. Here's that sleeping fairy again. And look, she still has those bluebells. So I think that's part of
Part of
her.
her stamp.
Yep, I think that's part of the stamp. But look what we've got in here. We've got the fairy, we've got the mushrooms, and we've got a log.
Got the log again. So that might be part. Is that part of the stamp? Maybe.
The log, no,
Yeah, no.
nope. The last one was she was on a stump.
A
This
stump.
one, this time she has a log in the foreground with the
Tree,
mushrooms.
stump, log, branch.
I also like, look at the torn paper they've put behind here to make that look like a log. In fact, I love the way they've kind of rough torn it. They may have even burned it and then created the darker image. If you took a piece of mustard colored paper and carefully, don't burn your house down, you have to use some sense about this, but you can actually burn and create beautiful images. And look at what that does. You got kind of the little scorch marks along here that looks like the first ring of the tree, and then you've got the darker bits of scorch where you're actually pulling off the burnt pieces.
And if you don't want to do a burnt piece, you can use the scorch markers that we have in the store
You
to be able to
absolutely
use
could
it
do
with
that.
the embossing gun, where you just heat it up and it makes the scorch mark for you.
That's absolutely true, Margie. Good thought. Oh, here's our octopus again. You can tell it like the octopus. I grabbed lots of pictures of him. I love the scallop shell next to him. Look look what we've got in here. We've got kind of the ferns, we've got the scallop shell, we've got the octopus, and everything else is backgrounded. Isn't that just cool?
And they've made what looks to be fish, but it's truly background
Mm-hmm.
watermarks
Yep,
almost.
just watermarks. And look at the way they have brought out his. I love the way they did this. They just used a white marker to bring out the suction cups. Isn't that cool? Gorgeous. Okay, let's take a look at some more of our goodies here. I said we'd look at fairies next, so let's look at the fairies. Okay, the condo dwellers we've already seen. You get 5 different stamps in that set. Lots of fun ways to use those little ones. I had lots of requests for this one last time. Isn't he cute? His name is Flamo, Flamo. He's the baby fairy. Here's our kissing fairy. She's back. Sold out. Now she's back. Margie says this is the most popular of the images. I think her name is Seville.
That one seems to go pretty quickly.
She's beautiful. I love the way she's reaching out. And then you've got the butterfly there. She's also used with the dragon. She's used with several of them where she's reaching for something. You can use her with the dandelion fluff. There's lots of ones that you can use where her hands up like that. That's really cute. And here is, yes, her name is Bluebell, which would explain why she has bluebells on her antennae. And she's the sleeping fairy. I love this wings, by the way, and how you can just put some glitter in there and just make those wings really pop. That's beautiful.
And by coloring them in, I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah, isn't that beautiful? Yeah. Okay, and I believe her name's Starla. Her name's Starla. So that's our fairies. Let's go ahead and do another little stack here. I have 2 more stacks after this.
Okay.
Let's do these other background elements since we've already done the trees and things. This one is just called the pedestal. It's called the stone pedestal. Here's our bridge and our stairs. Okay, let's look at some more. I got lots of images for you. I went out and started copying everything I liked. Well, there's an awful lot I like. Okay, here's Starla and that moon tree. And it looks like, I'm not sure what we're using here. It looks like the top of the small bear tree, maybe. I'm sure it is, actually.
It actually looks like portions of the moon tree branch.
Oh, it might be. Yeah,
It
they're
is.
just turning that and using it again. Can you come out? There you go, just a little bit. There we go, so we can see the whole thing. And down here, we're using, they're using what do you call that again?
The vines,
The
the
vine,
hanging
the hanging
branches.
vines. And they're just glittering that all up. Isn't it beautiful? But how many stamps do we have here then? We've got one. Well, this is one, two, three, four, five, I guess, with
You don't even realize that those are little snails in there until you pointed them out. They kind of
the snails are cute, aren't
hide
they?
within, but they're there once you point them out.
So cute.
It's
And you
discovering
wouldn't
magic.
have to have the snails, but it's an additional bit of texture. Just like you wouldn't really have to have the hanging branches. But again, it's a nice bit of texture. And I love the way they did reuse this and turn it on side and create that brush in the foreground. Beautiful. Here's our turtle, Mr. Turtle. If they gave us a turtle, I printed it because they're just too beautiful. This one, I can't. I think they're making a shaker out of him too.
Yeah.
And this is a good example where I said you could make your own porthole. They're using two different size circle dies and then just making the little dots on them to represent a porthole, creating a little shaker pocket behind. Adorable. It's a nice turtle. Here's another one. This one says relax. And this has both of the new turtles on it.
He was hiding out in one of the octopus ones up in the corner. The
Oh,
little
was
turtle.
yeah, he
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
This looks to me, this is a die that they've used in the back here. It looks like the one that was in that magazine recently. You bought
The
that magazine.
hello. It was a hello from die cutting.
Oh, was it the die cutting
I
magazine?
think it was the die cutting, or maybe it was Paper Essentials. It was one of
Okay.
the two, but it's a diagonal aperture making with a little circle in the middle.
But it kind of looks like the
Yes,
same
it
die,
does.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I love the heron too. Okay, there's your waterfall. You guys are always asking for waterfalls. There you go. There's your waterfall. And look at this. They've taken the same waterfall and just mirrored it. Stamped it once and then stamped it again down.
Upside down.
Yep, to create the reflection. Look at our heron. So cute. I like that texture they're getting. I'm not sure what that texture is. It almost looks like
It's
that.
part of their print. They have
Oh,
it
is
in
it?
their
Okay.
print.
It's in
Yeah.
the print already.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was looking at this background and seeing what they're using. This is part of the print too. So we have one, two, three stamps in total in that absolutely gorgeous image. Isn't that something? Three stamps. And that
How they
includes
put
the
the
greeting.
rainbow in it. Look at, they even took the time to put the rainbow in both the bottom and the top for reflection through the water.
Oh, they sure did. But beautiful images. Not an awful lot of work there, but gorgeous. Okay, here's another upside down one. Here's our fairy leaning on that stone pedestal we just showed you. How many are in that? We have two stamps and a die, it looks like. Could use a stamp, certainly for Dream, but we have the two stamps. Wow. You can make great stuff here. Okay, here's our new dolphin. How many stamps in that one? One plus the greeting. It's beautiful in that background, though.
Which the greetings are for the most part just add-ons. There are some stamps that they
Sure.
do sell the
Uh huh.
quotes to, but some of these aren't
Yeah.
part of the set.
And who amongst us doesn't have some simple word dice or simple word greetings? Most of us do, because I believe you have a few that have come in the sets that we've done in class.
I have absolutely
You have none? Oh, I almost believed you for a minute. Silly me. There's our tree.
none. And Rocky.
And Rocky's back. I didn't turn my phone off again. But we have those. We have little mushrooms, and we have the stocky vines. We have the pathway. So we have one, two, three, four dies in that. Just beautiful. Our four dies. I keep saying dies. Stamps. Look at this one. Two stamps here. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Yes, we have them. They're new. We have the whales and the starfish both. Let's take a look at those. Let's take a look at our sea creatures. I'm feeling the need to show stamps here. Okay, oops, we've got a few minis. We have a mini nautilus shell.
That reflection hits those little ones like crazy.
We have the starfish we just saw. This is one of the minis too. These minis are super affordable, by the way. We have the mini crab. Love this scallop shell. The
And
mini
these minis
scallop.
are what, about an inch?
Oh, they're about an inch and a
Ish.
half, probably inch and a quarter. Well, we have a ruler somewhere. If you lend me the ruler, we'll verify.
That just gives a relative.
This is measure upside down. The actual image is an inch and a half wide. And let's look at that crab. I think he's probably closer to almost, yeah, he's right at 2 inches wide. So the minis. And here's the open scallop shell. I love that with the pearl in it. Isn't that beautiful? It's like a rule, though, if you use this one, you got to do something fun with that pearl.
Yeah.
Pearlescence, glitter, got to do something to it. Here's our friend, the octopus, and his name is. Oh, I noticed this last night when I was trying to figure out his name. Um, it's not Oscar, but I can't read it because I think it's like Cyril, maybe Cyril. It's in there backwards. Margie wants to look and see if she can tell us. Here's our. In the meantime, here's our little turtle. And he's called the mini turtle.
It's Oscar.
Is it Oscar?
Yeah, it's upside down and backwards.
Okay. All right. It is Oscar. Okay.
Good memory.
Good job. Okay. Well, not so good because then I said, no, it's not. Okay. Here's our dolphin. His name's Spinner. Here's our turtle. And he's got a name too. It's Raphael.
Anybody that raised a son with teenage
Yeah, like a Ninja Turtle.
or
Raphael.
who thought that they were great too.
And here's our whale. I love the whale. His name is Luna. Luna. Here's our seahorses. Aren't they cool? I love these. There's just something about a seahorse I love, though. Those are called seahorses. Here's our sunken ship. And here's that net background that we talked about.
Which I think that maybe in some of them it made almost like a little wave style by turning it on its straight.
Possibly.
I think I saw.
Okay, here's the last few of our images for today. Now look how they've used that net for texture in the back of the owl. See that? I love the owl, by the way. Totally love this owl. He's beautiful. So in this one, we've got 3 stamps. We've got the owl, the log, and the net. Okay, over here, we've got our waterfall. We've got the swans. They're stamping the moon stamp right into the image that's already on the background sheet. And they're adding some die cut corners and background paper to the 6x6 paper. It's cool the way they've done that. Kind of draws in the black ink. Beautiful. So that one actually has three stamps, right? Yeah. We got the waterfall, we've got the swan, and we've got the moon. Here's our little kneeling fairy talking to the frog. Here's Starla. No, not Starla. What's her name again? I don't remember. The one we said is one of our most popular. Anyway, she's pretty. And it
Seville.
looks like Seville. I believe you're right. Seville. And we've, in terms of stamp sets, it looks to me like we have three there. Maybe four. No, three. We have three that have just been reused. There's our clouds, though. See the clouds in the sky? I was remiss. Oh, we printed two of those. Bless
What's
my heart.
interesting is that it almost looks like they've got a extra piece down at the bottom that's reflecting off. I don't know why that's. Do you see how in the
Yeah, I don't know why
image?
that is either. Maybe they've got a mirror behind it or something. It does look to me like they've actually kind of ghosted in these stars here. They're stamping off most of the ink and then just restamping the star sets over their sheet to create that soft star effect. That's cool. Here's our one of our new slimline papers with our tree and the heron, and then they're adding moons to it. So I'm not sure if these moons are on that slimline paper. I don't
I don't
recall
think
whether they
so.
were on there. They may already be on the paper. I'm not certain. We showed those yesterday, and I have a short attention span.
Well,
But it's
Bryce and I both
beautiful.
think that they're not on the paper.
Okay, and here's one that's just done using only the bare trees, short and tall. Isn't that cute? It's just so cute, but it's just the trees with a nice background. Let's look at the. Oh, there was one more there. I thought I had one of the dragon here,
And
and
they're using
there
civility.
she is. She's reaching up to the dragon. So we've got the dragon, we've got the fairy, and then we've got the hanging vines. That's all that they're using in there.
Pretty, pretty.
Isn't it pretty? Let's look at our last few stamps here, and we'll call it good for now. Here we go. Here's our heron. We've had him before, I believe. He sold out. He's back. Here's our little fireflies. They sold out. I look at these and I think if I stamped these, I would immediately have to stop and color their little
Yep.
butts yellow. It
Yep.
just would have to happen. Here's you guys asked for him. He's finally here. His name is Kimba, a little dragon critter. Kimba. We got the big frog this
He's
time.
huge.
He's big frog. There's my favorite owl. Here's our swan that we've seen time and time again. She's just beautiful. Here is our owl in flight. I love this one. This adds wonderful texture to so many things just to stamp that owl in. And there's our favorite dragon back again. His name is Zakar. Zakar the dragon is back again. So that's it for today. Debbie from Simply Special Crafts, and I'm going to say good night, Gracie.